You are listening to Three Kitchens podcast, hosted by Heather Dyer and Erin Walker. To find our complete catalog of episodes, check out any of your favorite podcast players.
Or our website, threekitchenspodcast.com.
Well, it's the two of us sitting here post-Christmas. I think we're feeling a little bit, I don't want to say uninspired, but we've been juiced. Our energy level is lower. Oh, we
I
need
think
to take some
everybody,
deep breaths.
I
We're all
think
on the
everybody
same page.
feels that way after the holidays.
Hmm.
And it's winter here for us.
Hmm.
Like we're fully into it. By January, it's not the false start or the
No.
false winter or whatever those things are. It's full on
Yeah.
winter.
Well, when it first starts snowing and we get that initial snowfall, we're like, oh, winter wonderland. Now it's just cold, frozen land of depression.
Yeah, we're sick
We're
of
all
it.
ready for spring already. Oh, I don't even know if I want to say that word yet.
It's so
Ugh.
far off, you can't even.
No, I can't even.
It's illegal. Did you know? You're going to get
Okay.
arrested for saying that word
Should I
in
edit this
January.
out? I am in so much trouble.
How many cops listen?
Unless you're actually going to take me away and I get my vacation, then I'm okay with that. But if you're just going to fine
Vacation
me,
with bars on the
I'll take what
windows.
I can get, Heather. I'll take what I can get. So I want to make something simple but satisfying. So I found somebody talking about marinated grilled cheese sandwiches.
Marinated. Ooh.
Ooh. So it's showing that you can chop up your cheese, add some olive oil, some spices, and some of your favorite things like olives and sun-dried tomatoes or roasted red peppers or any of those types of delightful little pops of flavor. Mix it in with your cheese and you can let it marinate overnight in your fridge, or you can just make it right away. Just give it a couple minutes to mix together. And then before you put it on your bread, they show just toasting the inner side of your bread in the pan so that you kind of seal it against maybe some of the extra moisture that might be in there so
Oh,
it doesn't
okay.
get soggy. And then zhuzhing up your grilled cheese with this delicious marinated cheese.
Mm. When you first said marinated grilled cheese, I pictured the whole sandwich
Oh,
being marinated, and I was like, "How's this gonna go? What happens to the bread?" But anyway, okay, all right, I'm
okay.
with you.
Marinated cheese grilled cheese sandwich.
We'll work on that title.
There you go. But again, I don't really think this is going to be a super complicated one. We can, I think, both express a lot of opinions about grilled cheese and the types of cheese. So I guess, what's your favorite type of grilled cheese sandwich?
I
Are
don't
you
know.
like some people are a hard white bread Kraft singles
Oh, mm.
gr-
Don't be putting that
grilled,
crap singles plastic stuff into your
no
sandwich.
plastic cheese. Okay.
No,
Okay.
no. I
I
don't
mean, it
even
throws us
understand what that
back.
is.
I don't know. There's
It's
part of me
weird.
feels like, oh, I remember that flavor in that from like my 80s kitchen. It was the delicious, crappy thing you ate. And you still have some nostalgic good feelings about it. But then when you
Hmm.
actually eat it, you're like, oh, no, this is just disappointment.
I don't even think I have good
Oh,
nostalgic
okay.
feelings about it. I don't
Okay.
remember really ever enjoying it all that much, but maybe I've just forgotten because of my real aversion to it now. I think like, no, I love cheese.
Hmm.
Considering my issues with lactose, most
Yes.
cheeses I can deal with
Mm.
fairly
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And so gonna I'm gonna eat real cheese. If I
Okay.
can eat it, I'm gonna eat real cheese, not some crappy plastic floppy thing, whatever that
Okay.
is. Um, this is making me think though of Years ago when I used to work downtown,
Okay.
there was a food truck that would once a week park outside the office building where I last worked in an office. And it was called Cheesy Business. And it
Ah,
was all grilled cheese. And whenever we knew it was like Thursday or whatever, it's like around the office, it's Thursday, cheesy business. And everybody would like head on down there for lunch.
that is the highlight of the day.
And there was
Week.
one that I remember liking a lot that had sharp cheddar, apple, and I think a bacon jam in there.
Okay.
Delicious, delicious. You
Hmm.
share my love of apple and cheese as a
Very
pairing.
much.
So
Very
you put a
much.
nice crisp apple slice into your grilled cheese. It's delicious.
Mm. I've never done that before. I was also wondering, excuse me, about going down the path of maybe like I'm a big fan, and over Christmas we've had a lot of these baked bries
Mm.
with the um, savory and sweet and nutty sort of flavors going on top of a brie cheese
Mm.
and baked in the oven and all soft and gooey and delicious. And so I was kind of wondering about doing something as well with like a cranberry
Mm.
brie and pecan.
Saskatoon berry would also be really good in there. I
Yeah.
might be able to hook you up with some of those from the freezer.
Yeah, there's some fun ways of playing
Mm.
with grilled cheese. So I like this idea of doing this marinated one, but I think I might also try something else and see if I can come up with a variety that I like. I haven't totally fixed on what I'm marinating with yet.
Mhm.
So there could still be some fun with it there. I'm not 100% sure. It's too bad you don't have any more of that apple butter left.
I, I should
That
really
would
make
be
more.
delicious with a sharp cheddar and the apple
Mhm.
butter.
Yes.
Mmm, yum yum.
Um, a grilled cheese sandwich, though, is
Oh,
not just about what goes between the bread.
ah,
I think there is a way to make it, like the technique of making it so that it is melted on the inside, nice and toasty, crispy on the outside without being either underdone or overdone on either of those things.
I have to say the most disappointing grilled cheese for me is when the cheese hasn't actually fully melted and it's like that warm, sweaty cheese in the middle.
Yes.
So I feel like
And the bread
a,
is like too toasted, like too
yeah,
crisp, crunchy
and
on
the
the
bread is
outside.
like dried out.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it's all sorts of disappointment.
Yeah. So I think there's a trick to it. I don't know that I know it. I don't make grilled cheese very often. I really should, but
No, but I'm gonna make this on just my uh a loaf of overnight bread. So I'm not gonna go sourdough on this. I don't know if I've told you, but Joe the Second has left my life. So my second sourdough starter I have given up on.
has left your life.
Yeah, I know. It's sad.
R.I.P. Joe the Second.
Yeah, I'm slightly ashamed that I've let him. I,
Perish
I
in the
did
back of
not
the fridge.
provide the necessities of life to my sourdough starter, and here we go. I mentioned spring, and now I've killed a sourdough starter. So I mean, I am just up for it.
Uh-oh. Are you
The
going to start a
second
new
half of
one?
this episode will be from my nice cold concrete
Jail cell.
cell.
Oh
So I'm
dear.
just gonna make a good old overnight bread,
Hmm.
and that's always a nice moist bread. It's got lots of good bounce and spring in its texture, and I think it's gonna be fantastic.
Very nice French accent. You have
Thank
been
you.
watching Great Canadian Bake Off or whatever because that's the
I may
accent.
have just finished it on the
I
weekend.
haven't don't
I
I
won't
haven't yet
say
caught up to the
anything.
final. Don't
I
say
won't
anything.
say,
I know
don't worry,
I'm
I
way
won't say
behind.
anything.
I'm behind, but okay.
I'm way behind.
I'm getting to it. Well, I only have one left, but
Oh, okay.
I've been avoiding our friends over at the Bacon Scraps podcast because I'm like, anytime I see them, I start to scroll and it's them. I'm like, nope, get past, go, go,
No,
go. I
no,
don't want to
no.
see.
La la la
I don't
la
want
la.
spoiler because I don't know why I haven't got back to it.
Can I say, well, maybe I should save this. I'll save this for our
Oh,
discussion with the baking scraps.
oh, okay. All
So
right.
I'm going to put all of my love and energy into a grilled cheese sandwich, and we can talk in the second half if you think my technique is up to your standard, because clearly you've got very high standards, and we'll find out if this marinated cheese thing is as life-changing as this Instagram dude
Oh,
says it is.
this is the problem with Instagram dudes
Mm, yeah, it's
cooking
all
stuff.
hype, and it might
Don't you
not be.
find the dudes are the ones who hype it up like it's going to change your life and it's like they're the ones always slapping the food around and like chop 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 and like it's almost aggressive cooking as opposed to maybe it's just the types that I happen to see on our feed, but
Maybe it's just
like
a
this grilled
dude.
cheese sandwich is going to like change your life.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's a dude thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're just more calm and mellow, and as the mother of two boys, I mean, life is never drama free. So I mean, I can just see how it goes right up into adulthood. All right, Heather, we're back, and you've been grilled.
I feel like I'm about to be
You're
grilled.
about to be grilled. You've got a quiz in front of you. There are three types of grilled cheeses.
It was a bit like a game show kind
Oh,
of thing
okay, awesome.
because they were labeled grilled cheese one, grilled cheese two, grilled cheese three, and I'm like,
Yes.
I had no idea what was in them. It was so fun, and I cut them each in half and shared with Todd. So he had his half and I had mine, and we compared our
Wonderful. I'm
thoughts.
so glad that you had somebody to compare and contrast and make notes
Well,
with. That's
now we
way
have
more
each
fun
other.
that way.
Yeah.
I can get a more robust analysis from more people eating the grilled cheese. Ooh, fantastic. All right. So this idea of grilled cheese, marinating the cheese. So I did it overnight. Um, Grilled cheese sandwich number one. Let's go through this sequentially.
Okay. Good.
Uh, do you want me to ask what what you thought was in it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
This one was
I
pretty easy, I think.
You think? Okay, I don't know what kind of cheese that was. I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Um, I believe there was onion in there. It was quite sweet
Okay.
overall.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's all you
Cheese and
got.
onion.
Okay. Okay. Spoiler alert, I use the same cheese for everything. So it was a white cheddar cheese, an aged white cheddar.
Hmm.
I would switch up cheeses or add different cheeses together next time to make this even fancier. But let's be honest, most of us just have a block of cheese kicking around in the house. You don't need to go and get all the expensive cheeses to make a nice grilled cheese.
Right.
So the first one was was the white cheddar, grainy mustard, and caramelized onions.
Hmm.
So those onions I cooked down for what felt like half of
All
my
day.
lifetime.
Oh, half of your life.
They just kept it always takes so much longer to caramelize onions than you think.
Oh, and I wish people would stop putting times for it in
Mm.
recipes. Like
Especially when the time is like under 45 minutes. When they're like,
it's
"Oh, until the onions are caramelized, about 8 to 10 minutes."
Where do you
No,
live? Where do you live that is
lies.
the case? I don't believe
They
that
live
that
in
is
lie
true.
land.
Liland. They sit on a throne of lies when they're talking about caramelizing onions. Stop it.
No. So I made those pre-caramelized onions, and now I have like a jar of them in the fridge too. So I didn't use all of them when I made um, my cheese up. Also, I really didn't do measurements. I was just kind of like a bit of this, a bit of that, stir it together, looks good. There was also salt and pepper and some olive oil, and that was
Mm,
it.
my kind of recipe.
Yeah,
Just toss a little of this and that.
I'm just free form Erin today.
Oh, I love it.
Loosey goosey.
I've taught you well, young Jedi.
Thank you, Master. Okay,
All right.
now for grilled cheese number two, Heather. What did you find?
Okay, it's getting trickier. Um, this was the. Did I bring my book? I actually wrote notes. I didn't bring
Oh,
my book in here.
do you want to go get
I
your book
think
and we
this
can
was
start
the
again?
sun-dried tomato and olive.
Okay.
That was this one.
Hmm.
That's what I got.
All right. It had olives and sun-dried tomatoes, green olives, I should clarify.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, Sun-dried tomato that was packed in oil, not the ones that you get dried. Salt and pepper, chili flakes, oregano, and cumin.
Mm. It was,
This was a full flavor experience. And of course, the white cheddar cheese.
yeah. I actually thought there might be feta, but that might have just been my brain like associating what goes with sun-dried tomatoes and olives. I kind of went, oh, maybe it's feta.
Yeah, and I think if you wanted to like go out and buy the fancy cheese, and I feel like all of these could have had a cheese added to the cheddar cheese so that it was like cheddar and I agree,
Yeah.
feta would have been the cheese I put in this one. Totally.
This was, like you said, like full of flavor.
Hmm.
Yummy.
Yeah, this one had the most, I would say, in terms of like all the herbs and spices in it. So I really liked that. All right. And now, grilled cheese number three, the final one on the
Um,
dock.
I really should have brought my
Go get it.
pots.
And finally, grilled cheese number three.
Number three. Okay, I thought there were red peppers and parsley, and
Yeah,
I had guessed Parmesan cheese, but clearly now I know there was no Parmesan cheese in there.
would have been a good addition. I also thought maybe a mozzarella with this one.
Hmm.
This was essentially, do you remember back when I made polenta squares and I made a roasted red pepper dip?
Hmm. That
It
like
had
relish. Mm.
roasted red pepper, parsley, red wine vinegar, garlic, salt and pepper, and some uh, chili powder.
Mm.
Yeah, chili powder. And that's what went into that one.
Yum.
I liked the way the vinegar was in there and kind of because grilled cheeses can be like a little bit too rich all around. I liked the pepper in the, or I liked the vinegar in this one.
Hmm.
I thought that was good.
I mean, they were all delicious. The dire vote,
Oh,
my husband and I agreed. We chose in order of our favorite, although we would gladly eat every
mm,
single one of those any day of the week.
okay.
Two, we picked number two, then number three, then number one.
Yeah, that's sort of the same order I ended up with.
Ah,
I also thought that the one with the olives and sun-dried tomatoes, just with all the spices in there, it was a much more well-rounded flavor. I think the first one with the mustard and the caramelized onions would be so good if you put a Swiss or a Gruyere in there. That
mm-hmm.
would add that bitterness and that flavor to those sweet things. And I think maybe that would be a little bit better. Maybe Dijon if you don't have grainy mustard. I like mustard in a grilled cheese. So I kind of like the grainy mustard in there. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all of these I think you could pair with fancier cheese with, you know, with the
But
cheddar.
also, as you said, any cheese that you happen to have,
Yeah.
as long as it melts,
Yeah.
would be. Great. I
Yeah, I
just saw
think so.
something on like Instagram, I think, on our popped up on our feed that was like make grilled cheese with all those random little bits of fancy cheese left over from Christmas. And I was like, ooh, that's like
That
perfect.
also sounds like fun.
Just mix it all together and see what you get. Now, I do have a question about how do you marinate cheese? How did that?
Was I cut the cheese up into smaller pieces so it was littler bits of cheese and then mixed everything that I wanted to with it and then just popped it in the fridge with a little bit of extra olive oil. That seemed to be the thing to help it. I wonder how much of a difference letting it sit overnight is versus if I would have just mixed this up and put it on the bread. I don't think you have to wait overnight. I think just putting these flavors in there to get something more going on between those two slices of bread.
Like, how much does cheese absorb? It's not very,
I
I
don't
don't know that it
know.
would like really like move into the cheese.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how much marinating it really is or if
hmm
it's just like adding these flavors. But I think if you
Whatever
want to
you
make
did,
them,
whatever you did worked.
go for it. And this is a simple bread. It takes for me maybe 5 minutes to throw all these ingredients together the night before. It sits overnight. I punch it down, put it into my loaf pan, and it bakes. It's so easy, so much better than anything store bought. You just don't get that texture and the chewiness and the crisp that you want.
It's very grainy.
Mhm.
I thought you like what was in it? What were the seeds that you threw in this?
Um,
I know you like to mix it up when you make it.
I do. It's kind of whatever I've got on hand, but right now we have the full array of stuff I could
Mm.
possibly put in. So there were hemp seeds, flax seeds, millet, and a little bit of cornmeal in there. Oh, did I make it with oats? I can't remember if I also put oats in there or not. Sometimes I do.
Mm.
Pretty sure I forgot that time, but it's just 2.5 cups of white flour and half a cup of whole wheat flour. A
And
tablespoon of each of those seeds,
okay, that was going to be my question. How
yeast,
much?
salt, water.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
And that recipe's on our website,
It is.
threekitchenspodcast.com recipe page. That was delicious bread for grilled
Mhm.
cheese. Okay, one more question.
No
So,
more
what's your
questions. Yes, one more question.
listen, lady? This is your job when you're on that side of the screen.
I know
On
I'm only joking because the last time you said one more question, so I'm like,
oh,
well, I mean, you
okay,
kind of
fair enough.
already said
All right, another question.
another one.
What's your technique for because
Ah,
grilled cheese actually there are techniques to how to make it.
yes. And I was watching some people, they grill on the inside of the bread before putting the
Oh,
cheese on so that it doesn't get soggy. And I'm guessing,
I've never seen that.
yeah, I noticed that in one of the videos I was watching. That's not what I did. Um, some people use mayonnaise instead of
hmm
butter.
I've heard that.
I did butter, although I have done mayonnaise, and I think both are totally valid. Um, and I feel like you need it at a low to medium low heat, and it takes time.
hmm
You gotta wait for it to brown, and the cheese usually doesn't start melting until you've flipped the sandwich, and then it melts. And you must always have melted cheese all the way through. When you find like one of those chunks of sweaty cheese, is what I call it, because it's like it hasn't melted yet and it but it's kind of like
Yeah, it's starting to sweat. That's what it
wetted.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will get very upset and I don't like
Mm.
that.
There's so many options of delicious things you can put in a grilled cheese
Yeah.
sandwich. It's like a genius sort of
You really don't
sandwich.
have to keep it as plain Jane as just grilling cheese between bread.
But
There's
even when you
so much more
do,
you
it's
do.
fantastic.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's like a plain Jane grilled cheese,
Hmm.
yummy, hits the spot, especially dunked in, my opinion, dunked in like tomato soup. So good. But then when you start adding in different cheeses, different
Mm.
things like olives and tomatoes and peppers and onions and bacon jam and apple slices, and I mean there's just like you could just go
Well, this was
crazy.
the thing. I went down all these savory routes. I have seen like a brie and blueberry compote kind
Oh,
of.
I've made it. Yes,
Oh,
I've
have
made
you
that
made
with
that? My gosh.
Saskatoon berry, and
Wow.
I don't think it was brie. I can't remember what kind of cheese. Oh,
Okay.
some kind of cheese
Like a
and
soft
Saskatoon berry.
cheese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm. You could put that Boursin cheese that's like creamy and got herbs and stuff in it. Put that in with, I don't know, like
Oh, yeah.
so many things you could do with grilled cheese.
There are. And it's,
Mm.
you know, it can be really simple, but you can also just like add these little things in from your fridge. And I don't know, I always have jars full of little bits that you make or save from meals just to mix that in and make yourself a fancier grilled cheese makes you,
Carnitas, pulled pork. I mean,
ooh.
roast chicken.
It's
There's so you could
almost
just
like
put in like
pizza. It's like pizza bread.
anything you can think of that you love. Just
Yeah.
put it in there with the cheese.
Yeah.
Yum. You have
Yeah,
inspired me.
I don't think you have to marinate overnight. I'd say just mix some stuff into your cheese low and slow.
Yes, that is
No
the.
sweaty cheese.
I feel like we need like a circle with a line through it. Sweaty cheese.
Yes.
No, gonna
This is
make
a
that.
winner. This is the winner.
So good.
I don't have how many Erin heads I would rate it, but it's a winner.
No, I
Good.
think you could give it the maximum 10 little if it's out of 10. Maybe we should switch it to like out of 5 because it'll make it easier. So
Okay, yeah.
5 little bobbing Erin heads
Let's
out of
change
5.
this scale.
Yeah, 10 is a lot. When I had to for the video when I had the 7 Heather heads, it was like, God, how many
Can
is
we do
there?
half a head? Can we give it like four
Oh,
and a
yes,
half? Okay.
yes.
I'm gonna give it 4.5 errands. You choose if it's this way or that way. And now for the fine print. Links to recipes and other things we talked about in this episode can be found in the show notes or on our website, www.threekitchenspodcast.com. Come say hello on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok. We'd love to connect. And if you enjoy the show, pass it on. Word of mouth is the #1 way people learn about new podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.